Morning. It's Friday, January 12th, post market analysis. So, as we can see here, 5 minute chart, micro e mini 500. And on my pre market, I identified equilibrium of yesterday's dealing range, also New York PM sell side, New York PM buy side, waited to see what Asia would do. So Asia low, as we can see here, swept right before 3 a.m. London open. Asia high also swept, taken after Asia low. So I would have been watching price. As we can see, it did hug equilibrium, hugged it. That's why my interest was with the equilibrium. Came down and took out Asia low first, so I'm going to target Asia high. And it also broke below equilibrium. And I like this price action here, right before 3, came down, closed slightly lower than Asia low. And then at 3 o'clock, it came back, closed higher, created an order block, and disrespected this fair value gap at 305 with this bullish candle, at the same time creating a fair value gap, which I like. But I also see a breaker, low, high, lower, low, when it came up and gave me two market structure shifts. One, that's a breaker. Two, that's a breaker. So I would have gone with the breaker that's higher. So that's a breaker. Low, high, lower, low, higher, high for price to come back into before 4, preferably before 4 a.m. And that's a breaker. Low, high, lower, low, higher, high. Now, ideally, I would have gone with the higher breaker because my stop loss is going to be below in any event. So I would set a limit order for price to come down into the breaker. My usual 2 to 1 return as a target. Let me fib up to see where. Okay, good. -2 deviation right below it. Good, I like it. So that would have been my limit order to fill by 4 a.m. But I'll tell you, it didn't come back, obviously, and I'm glad because either my target hit or 5 a.m. usually. That's not usually, always. Those are my rules. Preferred target hit, 5 a.m. No fill, order canceled. So this order would have been canceled. And I'm really glad because I don't like when price, because you can see here, price gave me the market structure shift, created equal highs here, also equal highs here. I would not have wanted price to come up and take out these highs before tagging me in, and it did. So I got real uncomfortable with this candle that took out all of these highs. Mm-mm. Even if it had done that and come back and tagged me in immediately, I would have felt good about it. But I was okay with the fact that it did not come back and tag me in after it took out these highs. Well, I wouldn't say I was comfortable. I saw once it did that, I really wasn't interested in this trade anymore. Also came out and took out another high, closed higher, came back, disrespected slightly the fair value gap. I don't like this reaction to the fair value gap. After it came into it the first time, it should have continued higher if it was going to, but to come back, disrespect it, and then go back up and take out New York PM buy side, no, no good for me. I just didn't like this price action in here. I didn't. I didn't like the fact that it cleared the highs, went back and took out another high, traded back into the fair value gap. I wouldn't say it disrespected it. I misspoke. It actually respected it, came back into this bullish fair value gap. Didn't tag me in. It still wasn't 4 a.m. This is the 4 a.m. Didn't tag me in and still continued up and took out. Actually, red flag one, took out these equalized before tagging me in. Red flag two, reverse and respected this fair value gap. Didn't even wick down into the. This is what I like to see sometimes. It'll wick into the breaker and tag me in, and then still give me a respect, body respect for the fair value gap. No. And red flag number three, it took out New York PM buy side. No good. So this trade would have been canceled. Really, red flag number one. I didn't like it. So yeah, I'm good with it. That's my analysis, and with good reason. Now it's going to come down to the PM sell side, which makes sense because now at this point it's taken out Asia high, New York PM, came back into the, what do I want to say, range, created the order block, fair value gap, as we can see, so pretty. It went up, took out PM buy side, came back, closed within the range immediately and created the order block. Those goes slightly lower, created a fair value gap, traded back up into it to come down and give a nice market structure shift. Can you see the breaker? High, low, higher, high, lower, low. This is the breaker. Traded back into the breaker. That's the breaker. Traded back into the breaker. New York PM sell side targeted. Beautiful. So that's my analysis. All of this happening after 5. So I won't be a part of that. I feel no FOMO whatsoever. This is not usual. This is beautiful price action, by the way. But this usually does not happen after 5. So it's gorgeous. I don't know, maybe I'll graduate to when I see obvious signs like this to partake in it. But for now, not interested because I have stage 1 to work on: discipline, self control, no FOMO.